welcome to Community Talk. I'm Dan Scheidel, the Executive Director of the United Way of Enid, Northwest Oklahoma. Glad to be here today with you. Hope you're staying cool. And of course, we have our lovely Miss Carol Wade, who runs the Garfield County Child Advocacy Council. And we're going to be here to talk to you a little bit about some upcoming events and a little bit about the council. So, why is it the Garfield County Child Advocacy Council? Can it not be shortened so that's...
Oh, I think it probably could be, and you can be in charge of that.
Oh, no.
Board,
no, I understand how that goes.
You can change everything you want.
Well, okay, Carol, let's just talk a little bit about the history of the council, how long you've been around, and not you, but the council, and all the great things that you do.
Well, I've been around for so long, we wouldn't talk about that anyway.
All right.
The council's been around since 1997. That's quite a while, too. And
you were one of the founders, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to help plan the whole outfit, and then got to be part of the forming the first board. And it's been a wonderful experience. I've had a lot of experience in planning things and getting them going in the community, and the community is terrific about really embracing things that they see as needful.
Yeah.
But this is probably the best project I ever worked on developing, and over the years have had tremendous boards of directors.
Yeah, well, you've done a great job, and the organization itself has grown so much.
Yes.
Since '97 that...
well, it's interesting that you should mention that, because we were talking about forensic interviews. That's part of the services that we provide when an investigation of child abuse starts. And I remember when we started, we thought if we could get 10 interviews a year, we would really be doing well. We surpassed 200 a year this past year.
Wow.
And
That's
then,
good and bad.
Well, it is,
Yeah.
and people say that. You know,
Yeah.
what's causing that? You know, are people now just worse to children than they used to be? I'd like to believe it's that people are now more aware of child abuse and are reporting it. And I don't want any one child to be abused. But if something's going to happen to them, I'm so glad that there are people out there that are reporting it, so we can get good investigators looking at it and fix it.
Yeah. Well, I always talk about, you know, when the children that have either been abused are brought in, and the forensic interviews that you go through have just changed dramatically how they're processed, and working with law enforcement and how that has happened over the years. And can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Well, when we first started the Advocacy Center, we trained police officers, especially our juvenile detectives, to be the forensic interviewers. And they did an excellent job. But as people got more familiar with trauma and children, they learned that we were going to need to approach it differently. And so we have people now that are still trained in a similar fashion. It's all factual. It's you don't get asked any leading questions. Children will tell you the right things that they want to tell you to begin their healing process, because that's the part that I think is so critical with forensic interviews.
Yeah.
Sure, gathering evidence is, but to help that child and that family start to heal is our real #1 objective.
Well, and there's also key is the education and prevention. So
Yes.
Working with whether it's CASA volunteers or whether it's working with caregivers, daycare.
Yes.
I mean, how do you go about doing that?
Well, back to the forensic interview, every child comes there usually with a family member. The family member is fully expecting us to tell them that they were very wrong for allowing this to happen and all that. Our point is, when they walk in the door, they are a respected person, and they leave saying, we're glad we came here. Because they're not to blame. The child is not to blame. I mean, and finding blame isn't going to accomplish anything.
Right.
We need to get people started to heal. So there's a victim advocate that also works with that family as soon as they enter the building. And they're trying to find out what their needs are and how can we help. And they stay with that family until the family says, we don't need you anymore. Not until DHS closes their case or the police department closes it, till that family says, we're okay now, we don't need you. We're now in with a therapist, or we're in a support group or something like that. Now, the other things you mentioned, the CASA program and all that, that's another piece of advocacy that we do, and it's involved with the courts. These are children that have already usually been removed from their homes, and the idea then is, can we put them back in their home safely?
Safely, right, right. And that's key.
And it is.
Yeah.
Safety is the whole key to everything. And so we'll do some special training of volunteers, and we always need volunteers to be CASAs.
You need more volunteers,
Need
right?
more volunteers.
And you do training with law enforcement. So you've got sheriff's department,
Yes.
Police. You
Yes.
work with the district attorney's office,
Yes.
Human Services. So
And we follow a national CASA curriculum. If you're trained in Oklahoma and you're transferred to the state of Washington, your training goes with you, and
That's
they
great.
will welcome you when you walk into a CASA office and say, I'm trained, but I was trained in Oklahoma. And they'll go, that's fine.
That's great,
We love
yeah.
you. Come right in, and
We love
we'll
you. I love
take
that.
good
Yeah.
care of you.
Yeah.
Because all over this country, there are CASA programs waiting for volunteers too. Talked with a newspaper person this morning from a different little town in Oklahoma, and she said, why doesn't every child have a CASA? They sound so wonderful. I said, because there aren't enough of you volunteers.
Right, right. So we need some more volunteers.
We do.
Yeah.
We need more volunteers. And all of this, I guess, leads us to what we're going to talk about is our event.
Right, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Wooden Children Project,
yes.
because that does kind of
Yes,
talk
that-
about, leads us into this Forget-Me-Not event that's coming up.
It does.
So tell us a little bit about that.
We talk about the number of children that are abused and neglected in the state, and I can keep saying to you 230 some children, and you go, oh yeah, 230, and you see it in your head. But when we put 230 some wooden little people out on the courthouse yard that the community has fostered, the community has dressed, the community has taken ownership of, that to me looks different than when you just say that number out loud. And the community pays $25 to foster this little wooden child.
Yep, so get 4. Make sure you get 4.
Other communities charge $100.
Round up, yeah.
We only charge $25.
I know, you
But
get 4 kids for $100.
we do,
yeah.
yes, and you get to return them too after the
That's the
end
great
of
thing.
April. But that money then, part of that money can be used to promote this event that we're going to have coming up, because all of that event's funds go straight to the endowment.
So we're talking about the Forget-Me-Not dinner event that's coming up,
Right.
and you're one of the co-chairs. Beth Culver's here, and Karen Whitson is also one of the co-chairs. But Beth is here, and she's going to talk a little bit about the event itself and more details. But talk a little bit about the endowment. When was it created? And this event, all the money that's raised from this event, then will go into the endowment. Okay.
Not
Great.
any of it goes for any expenses
Right.
or anything. Goes straight to the endowment. We started it because our funding for advocacy centers just one day was declared unconstitutional. Someone, a lawyer in Oklahoma City, decided to challenge it, and the Supreme Court said he was right. And we woke up one day with no funding. The legislature was kind enough then to come forth with funding for us. But it was kind of a wake-up call to our board. We can't be sitting here dependent on a state appropriation, or, you know, we have like 8 different grants that help run our agency, and the United Way is one of them. But we can't always be dependent on that. So we decided to start the endowment fund, and this is our 9th annual event to put money into that endowment fund.
Right.
And, you know, I know that it's going to be outside of my lifetime that we'll actually have enough distribution of funds to operate the agency. But it's a plan for the
Right.
future, and I hope that everybody will support the event, because it's looking at helping kids many years in the future.
Well, you planted the seeds,
We did.
and now it's just a matter of time, and it'll continue to grow.
Yes,
So
that's my
great,
hope.
great. Well, thank you so much, Carol.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with one of the co-chairs, Beth Culver. So stay with us. And welcome back to Community Talk. I'm Dan Scheidel with United Way of Enid in Northwest Oklahoma. Glad to have Miss Beth Culver here. She's the co-chair of the Forget-Me-Not event that's coming up for the Garfield County Child Advocacy Council. And so welcome to have you here. I mean, so great to have you here. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
That's what I meant.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm kind of dyslexic, so you'll have to pardon me. So tell us a little bit about the event. I know that we just had Carol on. We're talking about the Garfield County Child Advocacy Council, and that in itself is a mouthful. But Forget-Me-Not outdoor dinner event that is coming up.
You're
When
right.
is that? August 13th.
It is
Is that
August
a
the
Tuesday?
13th. Yes, it is
Okay.
a Tuesday night.
Tell us about it.
Well, it's going to be a wonderful night supporting the endowment for the Garfield County Child Garfield. We just talked about what a mouthful that
Advocacy
is.
Council.
You got it. You got it. A wonderful organization that helps children.
yeah.
We're going to be there at 7 o'clock. We're going to have some music and wonderful food. We're going to have some door prizes. The tickets are $75 a person. or you
And bring cash, right?
bring cash.
Yeah.
It's a fun night. You're also going to be able to buy a table for $500. You could sponsor a table for $500. You can fill that table yourself. Or we've invited some early childhood educators to join us. Our
Oh,
speaker
good.
that evening will be Dr. Barbara Sorrells out of Tulsa, and she runs an organization called Connected Kids, which is what she's going to be speaking on that night. Traumatized kids are a part of our families, our schools,
Yeah.
and our community.
Yeah.
All kids are a part of our future.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Sorrells is going to give us tools that we can use as an organization, but also as families, as neighbors, as a community, to help kids that have been traumatized and families that have been through trauma.
Well, and I think that's a good point, because when you think about these kids that have been traumatized as kids, they become adults. And so,
That's right.
you know, how do families then deal with the trauma that they grew up with? Because a lot of times you see that impacting their lives as adults and then their children. And so it becomes a generational issue, right?
And that doesn't have to be just about sexual abuse or
Right.
physical abuse. That can also be divorce. That can be moving. That can be a weather event such as we've experienced over the past few years,
Right.
where displacement takes place or homes are lost, and those become the future parents. So we want to reach them.
So this event, it's going to be held at the Cherokee Strip Regional Heritage
Yes.
Center, right?
Yes, it is.
That's where we were at last year.
We were, and it was a wonderful
It
night.
was.
Rained
it
a little
was,
bit
yes.
early,
Yeah, but it
then
was really
great,
actually a
yeah.
nice night. And the food. So what kind of food we're having?
Copper Pot is catering
They're
again.
doing it again. Didn't they
such
do
a
it last year?
They did, but
They
we're
did a great
changing the
job.
menu up. It's going to be Mexican fare this time.
Right,
Gonna be
and so
wonderful.
the mystery boxes. I
Yes.
remember last year I didn't bring cash. So are you going to have
You're
a
gonna
credit
regret
card
it if
reader?
you don't.
Okay, you need to get a credit card reader.
Oh,
You
probably
will.
no
Okay,
square there,
we finally got a
right?
square.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
good.
probably
So
gonna have a
either
square
bring cash, or bring a credit card.
Swipe
right?
that
Yeah.
card, because there's wonderful sponsors that have provided things like a round of golf, jewelry, beautiful
yeah,
jewelry, different things, fun things, and it's all a night that's just to support this organization's endowment, remember, and the kids.
Right, and so the
families.
endowment, well, approximately how much have you raised
Right
so far?
now, we're well over 100,000.
Okay,
Our
good.
goal every year is 10,000 or more.
to go into the endowment.
And
right.
hopefully that's going to get to a place in the future, it'll take a while, where we know if we don't get a grant, we don't get funding from the state, we can go ahead and meet those needs, because we would never want a family to be left in
Right,
need
right.
because we don't have the funds that we need.
So the endowment itself, that's all of the money that's raised on this event will go into the endowment.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's at the Cherokee Strip Community Foundation, right,
Yep.
here in Enid. So
Yes,
if anyone would like to make a contribution, they can make it directly.
They can.
To the
They can
the
leave it in a
foundation,
will. They can. If they happen to strike oil, just feel free to fill our endowment right up.
That's
but
great.
We'd still want to have the dinner every
Uh-huh.
year, because it's a great event. It's a time to get educated, and education is the key. I'm a retired educator for children, educate adults right now, and education is the key to all of this, meeting the needs of the future.
So Beth, let's jump back a little bit. You've been on the board itself, right?
Just for 2 years.
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
newbie, and
Yeah.
I'm learning so much from Carol and the other people on the board who have served much longer than I have, and such as yourself.
Well,
And we had a great time this year doing.
I've been on for 2 years too.
Oh, okay, well, we got an opportunity.
We're learning
to do
together.
Cookies for Santa
Yeah.
with Santa this
Yeah.
year, and we had a wonderful
That was great.
time. It was a lot of
Wasn't it? Yeah.
fun, but just a time to work with other people that have a heart for children, the community, and education, and
that's why you serve on the board.
that's right.
That's great.
Right. We
Well,
need more people to
Yeah,
serve.
we do.
That's right.
You're right. So if the event gets rain, only God knows
Oh,
we
yes,
get
yes,
some
yes.
rain. But if we do get rain, what happens? Where do you go? What do you do?
We'll be at the Gantt Center, still going
at
to
the
be
Gantt Center,
August the
okay.
13th.
Okay.
It'll still be at 7 o'clock in the evening, but it will be at the Gantt Center. So
Okay.
if it's wet, go to the Gantt Center. Wonderful food, wonderful door prizes, very wonderful educator, speaker who specializes in early
gonna be
childhood
good.
education and families.
So again, the cost. Can you tell us a little bit about the cost and where to get more information?
You can call 242-1153, speak to Sarah, and she will hook you up with some tickets for $75 a person. All of that goes into the endowment. So
Right.
you're going to get a wonderful meal, you're going to have a great night, and you're going to support an amazing
and
institution.
amazing event, right?
Amazing
and
event,
institution, right? So what about corporations or businesses that maybe want to do?
We already have several that have done tables,
They're
who
doing
have
tables,
committed,
okay.
but we would love for individuals, families, or
that's a good idea.
businesses to
Families.
sponsor a table. But how great would it be for a family
Yeah,
to say, you
that
know,
would be
this
really
is
neat.
important.
Yeah.
Let's sponsor a table
So
together.
and that's for a table of
$500
8.
For a table of 8.
Great,
Savings
great.
there for your
Okay.
dinner. So.
Great. Well, so what else do we need to know about the Forget Me Not event?
Dr. Barbara Sorrells is going to be
Right.
there. You don't want to miss her talk. Great food, great setting, a beautiful evening in Oklahoma.
Good friends.
A little bit of music, great
Yeah.
friends. Get to meet some of the people that are on the board.
Good.
This organization works, as we were talking earlier, with so many groups. They work with the police officers, with many, we've got a list somewhere,
yeah,
but
well,
many
you've
other
got
organizations.
The district attorneys, which has been really great,
Exactly.
working closely, and the police department, the sheriff's department,
the CASAs,
human
the
services, and
Right,
yeah,
Department of
yeah,
Human Services, so many people involved. So you'll probably see someone you know, because
Yeah.
we have all kinds of people
And
involved.
how much did you raise last year? Do you remember?
About 13,000.
About 13, yeah, 13, 14,000.
13, 14,000.
So and how many years has this been going on?
This is the ninth annual.
Ninth annual. Okay.
Forget Me Not dinner. You talked
So
earlier.
don't forget.
No, don't forget. You talked earlier about planting seeds
Right,
and growing.
right,
It all goes right there with the thought that we have behind the Forget Me Not dinner.
And I think that's really apropos, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, when you think about Forget Me Not and investing and planting those seeds
right.
for future generations, because we know we're going to be, dealing with trauma impacted children. Whether it's, like you said, it could be a natural disaster. It
That's
could
right.
be something other than verbal abuse or neglect or sexual or physical abuse. So.
Right.
You just never know what it might be.
We don't, and trauma is going to exist
Yeah.
forever.
Right.
Sadly, it's just not ever going to be a perfect world. So
Right.
we can be there to help reunite families, to help people not feel like they're hopeless. There's
Mm-hmm.
no hope. There's no one for me. This is the place for
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah,
I'm so
and that's
thankful for it.
great. And the care campus that is
Yes.
available there, that is such a great environment that it's taken years to get to that point,
You're right.
and the processes that the police go through, law enforcement goes through,
Mm-hmm.
and forensic interviews and things. It's amazing. So.
And it's improved over the years.
Yes, it has, yeah.
It's
Continues to.
gotten so much better
Right.
because of the education
Yeah.
that this organization and training is
Yeah.
providing.
Yeah, we're blessed to have it
Yes,
here,
we are.
right here
Yeah.
in Enid, America. So
Don't want to forget it.
Right. So again, Forget Me Not outdoor dinner event.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming up August 13th at 7 p.m. So is it 7 sharp?
7 sharp.
Okay.
Come comfortable, come casual. It's
Okay.
a fun night. It's
Casual.
not a dress up. It's comfortable.
All
We're
right.
going to have fun.
Good.
Enjoy the evening.
Great. Well, thank
7
you so
o'clock,
much. Thank you so much,
August the
Beth.
13th.
Again, Beth Culver, Karen Whitson, they're co-chairs that are working on this event for the Garfield County Child Advocacy Council. Please call today or visit their website and get tickets. $75 each or $500 for the table.
It's a bargain.
Yeah, it's a bargain.
Change
yes.
your child's life.
And just think, you're really helping children throughout not only Garfield County, but many other counties that surround us. Because if you think about it, we have probably a 75-mile radius. This is the only care campus that's available for these children to come and families to come and find some peace of mind and solace and hopefully remediation and healing. So we want you to do all you can. Again, if you'd like to make a direct contribution to the Cherokee Strip Foundation for the Garfield County Child Advocacy, you can do that as well. But we'd love to have you at the event, right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, thank you, and we appreciate
you.
you spending a little bit of time with us.
If your nonprofit group would like to be on Community Talk, give us a call at 540-8918.